So, like I said, kind of started my career in the western suburbs in public schools and now at Abbottsley. And I just want to literally go back in time to all of these moments that I think, I guess, were opportunities to make me maybe a better teacher. So, moving right along. Went to UWS, like I said. When I started at UWS, I had one child, one on the way, and made quite a lot of friends in those 4 years that I was at UWS. My degree was actually a Bachelor of Education in Primary Teaching, which is really interesting because now I'm a high school teacher. So by the end of that 4 years, my kids have grown a lot bigger. That's them now on the right, but that was then when I finished uni in 2005. So my uni experience was a lot different to those who leave straight after school. I'll talk a bit more about what I did in between school and uni very soon. But yeah, that was kind of where I started. If I could go back in time in a DeLorean, I would probably go back to that first day of uni and tell myself that the next 4 years were going to be amazing, but it was only going to be a very small piece of the learning that I was going to do from that moment on. So, from that moment on, at the end of the 4 years of uni, 2005, my husband decided he wanted to go and work in Port Macquarie, which was really good. I aced my DET interview, and then they looked at my forms and saw that I was on my way to Port Macquarie, and they told me I had Buckley's chance of getting a job in Port Macquarie no matter how good my interview was, because that is where teachers go to die. So, I found myself in Port Macquarie with 3 very small children and no babysitters and nobody that I knew, trying to get casual work. And because North Coast is where teachers go to die, there are plenty of teachers up there who are filling casual roles. They retired, they moved to the north, therefore look at the nods. They moved to the North Coast and all of a sudden they're bored and they go back to teaching and they take all the casual jobs. So I was driving an hour north to Kempsey. I was going south to this cute little two classroom school in Hannam Vale, and I had lots of fun doing that. What I did discover, hang on, yeah, next slide. What I discovered in moving to Port Macquarie was, as a primary teacher, I was actually allowed to casual teach in high schools. And as soon as I found that out, I went and put my name down at Port Macquarie High and some other high school south of there, which I can't remember right now. And I never looked back. I got work almost every day from there on out. So if you're a primary teacher and you end up being a casual teacher, don't hesitate to go put your name down at high school if you're not afraid of the teenagers. And vice versa. If you're a high school teacher, high school teenagers
are the best kind of teenager.
And you're not afraid of snotty noses and stuff, put your name down at primary school so you can get work there as well. Alright, moving on. So, Port Macquarie for nearly 2 years, and we then moved back to my hometown, Richmond. Put my name down at Richmond High, picked up work almost straight away. And I really discovered that I so much preferred teaching teenagers than what I did teaching primary kids. So, that was just, didn't really expect that, but that's what I found myself doing and liking. So at Richmond High, I made lots of lifelong friends. I'm still friends with them even though I haven't been there for 4 years. And it was an amazing school to work at. It was a very hard school to work at, don't get me wrong. Had some good days, had some bad days, but lots of fun in between. While I was there, I spent most of my time in the English department, but I also started teaching computing, which allowed me to become qualified as a high school teacher in TAS computing, which was really cool because I didn't have to go to uni again. So that was where I got my qualification, but if I had that DeLorean, I would go back in time to my university self and tell myself to study the elective subjects that would qualify me as an English teacher, because getting qualified as an English teacher, once you're actually an English teacher in a school with a primary degree, is really difficult, and I'm actually finding I'm going to have to go back to uni to become an English teacher, even though I'm an English teacher. So weird. So, what else would I do if I had that DeLorean? In 2008, Kevin Rudd threw $1 bajillion at schools and computers and technology. Now, I think that was actually a really exciting time, and it's when I started to really enjoy teaching other teachers what they could do with technology. There was lots of money around for PD at the time, and I took up every opportunity I could when all of that money started flowing through. So yes, there was money provided for the laptops, but there was so much money provided for teacher training, and I think that's been probably the resonating legacy of that whole program. If I had a time machine, I would go back and I would do my absolute best to visit every single teacher at that time and try and get them on board that wagon, because I'm quite sure there are still teachers huddled in the corner freaking out about the digital education revolution. I saw it as an opportunity. I know lots of teachers freaked out about it. So yeah, that was an exciting time for me, not so much for others. Also, if I could go back to, I guess around that digital education revolution time, there was heaps of stuff happening. Facebook was starting to explode. I need like 4 minutes. And as well as Facebook, there were iPhones and all sorts of stuff. But I think Facebook is a great tool for teachers to connect, to collaborate, whether it's following groups, being on pages, or just having a chat going with you and your friends and what you can share and do together. So that one's really cool. Twitter, already been mentioned, I think going to be mentioned again, so I won't spend too much time on that, mainly because I got the wrap up. We also, building your network as soon as possible, getting your edu friends, and there might not be friends that you went to uni with, is really, really important. So when you go to conferences, chat to people that are sitting there looking lonely. Go to the staff events at your school. Do anything you can to start building that network of people that can help you throughout your whole career. Because, these are all pictures from my Instagram, you'll find that you make lots of friends along the way and learn lots along the way as well. Coffee. If I had a time machine, I'd go back to my 16-year-old self and tell myself to start drinking coffee. Because I didn't discover coffee until I was like 35, which is really stupid. Student-centered learning. I'd also go back to my university self and say, make everything you do student-centered, because that has definitely been my most valuable teaching experiences. Whenever it's student-centered, and whether I've planned it for 4 hours or planned it for 4 minutes, the most successful and enjoyable moments for me as a teacher is when the students are at the focus of everything I do. I'd also like to go back to the day that I graduate and convince myself that there is no changing people's opinion of who and what teachers are. I still have, people who are self-employed that tell me I'm so lucky that I get all those holidays. You're never going to change society's mind about the fact that teachers work in holidays. Just not going to happen. Get used to it. And yeah, moving on. No, I wish I could go back to probably many points in my career and life and teach myself what the word no means and how to use it. Probably the two biggest points for me would be, it's about 2 years into working at Richmond High and 2 years into working at Abbotsleigh. You start to say yes to everything because you want to impress everyone, but you don't need to. You need to find that time for yourself. So sometimes you need to learn to say no. So, yeah. Gaming and playing. You should do that as often as you can in real life and in what you do with kids. Video games are pretty much the only time that a kid will fail over and over and over again and still want to go back and do it again. No one ever gets their test back and goes, can I have another go? That'd be awesome. So include it in everything you do. It doesn't have to, and I get really frustrated sometimes when people say, oh, you do all that fun learning. No, I just teach kids the way that I think they learn best. Alcohol. I'd love to say that I should go back to my 15-year-old self at like Angela Holly's party when I had my first drop of alcohol and say don't do it. But quite frankly, Fridays are probably the best day of the week for most teachers because they get to enjoy alcohol. So hopefully the DeLorean will break down on the way back to 1993 or whenever it was that I took my first drink. I'd also like to tell myself that in 1999, when I did 1 year of a public relations degree, that it wasn't a waste of time. I think as a teacher, you spend half your time being an event manager, whether it's organising a camp or organising a PD day like I did. I spent about 8 weeks organising this, definitely a whole day setting it up for teachers to come in for 1 hour and walk around and look at a showcase. Mental, but so worth it in the end. But those public relations and event management skills are really good. Budgeting. Okay, 3D printers and videos cost an absolute fortune. I'm lucky enough to work at a school at the moment which has very much an unlimited budget. But I have worked at schools that have absolutely no budget, and I wish in the time in between high school and uni when I was doing a lot of TAFE courses that I just took one course in budgeting, because that's a really good skill to have as a teacher that definitely no one teaches you at uni. Never stop learning. Books are great for high school students, they're great for uni students, but they're great for teachers as well. So don't stop building your professional learning library. Don't forget your friends and making time for them. They are probably what keeps you sane sometimes. Teach your friends and normal friends as well, because sometimes they don't want to talk shop with you apparently. These are my 4 favourite people in the world. Yes, they all have red hair, it's not my fault. There was probably a time at Richmond High just before I left when these guys weren't getting enough attention, because I was so wrapped up in everything I did at school. It is the best job in the world, but don't ever let anyone tell you any different, that it's still just a job. So you've got to make sure your people are looked after as well. So hopefully, in my very long, not 7-minute presentation, you've got a little bit of wisdom, maybe. But Ed Sheeran, another awesome redhead, has a pretty good piece of advice. And as a teacher, you're never actually going to please everyone, so you probably need to get used to doing that, and you don't have to know everything. And if you keep those 2 things in mind, you should have a lot of fun being a teacher.